I've got a quick thought on this. I've seen this conversation. I want to pick your thoughts on this. You know how it is when a player is in the Ghana Premier League, they're doing well, they get invitations to play in the Black Stars, and they get their chance, they take their chances. You see that they're very good, and they deserve their chances. Then they make a move abroad. And suddenly, they lose their place in the Black Stars because maybe where they went to is no longer considered an elite place. And suddenly, the player is no longer considered good enough to play for the Black Stars. I've seen Razak Simpson being linked to clubs in Algeria. I've seen Blue Star. He's been linked there to other clubs here. And you look at, so far, his introduction to the Black Stars is getting opportunities. You can't help but have the feeling the moment he leaves the Ghana Premier League, all of a sudden, we won't deem him good enough to play for the Black. And the examples abound.
Richmond Lamte more recently comes to mind. The whole country was crying out loud for him.
Yeah.
He leaves the country to go and play in Tanzania. Is he? Yeah, it's Tanzania.
Is it Tanzania he's in? I think he's in Rwanda.
Yeah. Rwanda is the country I was looking for. Yeah, Rwanda. It's not as if since he's gone to Rwanda, he's not played well.
He's actually the highest paid player there.
Yet, nobody really gets the same clamor. What I'm going to say is, there is a bias towards local players who are playing well in the country. The bar to get them into the Black Stars is not as high as the other players who are outside Ghana, irrespective of the country.
Yes.
So once you're in Ghana,
can't deny that.
Yeah. So Razak Simpson is doing great in the Ghana Premier League, and so there's that bias towards him. Benjamin Asari, the same. There's that bias towards them. We don't set the same bars for them as far as all the other players outside the country are concerned. The moment you pack your bags, sit on that plane out of Ghana, then the bar is against those in the Premier League, those in the Swiss League, those playing in major European leagues. That is where the comparison is. And so the moment you leave the shores of Ghana, the next good player in the league assumes that bias we are speaking about. Yeah. The next
is that a subconscious admission that the players in the Ghana Premier League that we call and insist that they get called to the Black Stars do not necessarily deserve it by matrix of a standard comparison, and that is just our bias that is speaking for them, not necessarily because they deserve it. Because, like you said, the moment they leave the Ghana Premier League, even if they're not playing bad, or even if they are marginally better than they were even in the Ghana Premier League, suddenly we don't even think that they're good enough for the Black Stars. Is that a subtle admission that...
It is, subconsciously, subtly. I think that is what it is. And we can look at it both ways. It's one of those things that you can look at what is wrong with it and what is fine or what is not wrong with it.
Right.
Is the Ghana Premier League, you want to promote it, you want to let players know that they've got a place in the team if they do well in the Ghana Premier League. So the lenses through which you are watching them is not the same lenses through which you are watching the players abroad. Coaches see them more often. You want to encourage all of that. So there is a place for that. But the truth of the matter is...
And we must not run away from admitting that that is the case.
Look,
right?
I think we had a similar discussion here. It blew, people didn't understand where we were coming from.
But I see it quite differently, and especially because of the fallout from that discussion we had. I think a large section of people don't really appreciate the falling standards of the Ghana Premier League. So there are people who legit believe that when players leave to leagues like the Tanzanian league, it's a step down. That subconscious admission is there, that's a step down. That is why the next best player in the Ghana Premier League automatically becomes the guy they are clamoring for the Black Stars. But there's also a subtle admission. It's funny that the two don't marry, because when a player is attracting interest from leagues outside, I'm talking African leagues outside Ghana, then it means the player is doing well. But all of a sudden, when they leave, it's like it's a step up, but a step down. It's a funny, but there are people who genuinely believe that the Ghana Premier League is still off that standard. Because remember, when people are clamoring for players from the Ghana Premier League to enter the Black Stars, they almost measure the Ghana Premier League on the same level as all these other leagues. You recall people talking about, prime example, Joseph Olakot, who was playing at the time, I think, was third tier in England. Yeah. If you look at the standards, facilities, remuneration, all those things, and compare it to the Ghana Premier, it's far better. Yeah. But it is third tier England against top tier.
So we wouldn't agree.
So who agree? Like that's just what it is. And for me, it's funny because it's quite painful from the player's point of view. Remember when Agadas was at Kotoko? When he touched the ball, we all knew he was a supreme talent. He leaves, he's going to a league that is of a much higher standard than the Ghana Premier League. And he's balling out. He's playing week in, week out. He's consistent. He's playing well. But it's like he's been forgotten, as you are saying. Like, nobody really cares. Yeah,
it's almost like we think that it is disrespectful to invite a player who plays in the Tanzanian league.
Whilst there's a player who's playing in Ghana.
Well, because it's almost like, now blasters are helpful. Then we're inviting players from Tanzania. Meanwhile, Tanzanian league is far better than the Ghana Premier League, but we'll never admit it.
Yeah, but the player then playing in Tanzanian league now has to come and compete against, in terms of call-up, against players playing in the English Premier League.
That is there.
That's
but also when you compare them,
selection metric, that's what I'm saying.
But also when you compare them against the Ghana Premier League player, they'll still tell you that Tanzanian league.
And that's the thing. So it's.
So it's like you can't
win.
It's
a tricky one, it's a tricky one. And the truth is, the league is not great. And it's never really been a good measure.
If you're a player like Razak Simpson, do you leave? Because we all know, if Razak Simpson leaves today,
that's it.
No, you see, and it's counterproductive because in the example, play time and time again. You're playing in the Black Stars, it's giving you exposure. It's helping other teams come for you. But when you leave, it means you won't play in the Black Stars again. So what exactly...
No, because we saw a player like Dan Lad leave, a player like Barnier leave, the same thing. We've seen players, a lot of players. Abalora the same.
Even Anand,
the same.
Kotoko goalkeeper, had a similar situation.
It's the same. So it's a tricky thing. Like
Kwame
Poku the same.
Had the same thing. He invited him to the Blaster, he goes to...
Kwame Poku is back now, he's banging in goals.
Yes.
People are going to start saying that give him a look in.
A look in.
Bring him in and take him back to Algeria. People are telling you now it's not good enough to play for the Black Stars. So yeah.
How many more callers before we forget a player like Jerry Free as well? Because you can see it coming. But if he continues to be here and he's even in Division 2, just by the mere fact that he's here and he's an under-20 player, we'll keep calling him.
He gets to play.
But he goes abroad, he's playing his Spanish second tier. After a while, we stop bothering, stop calling him. Like, it's a very complicated situation.